The halls of a quiet elementary school in Daejeon, South Korea, became the scene of a gruesome crime on February 10th, 2025, a crime so disturbing that it sent shockwaves across the nation. 8-year-old Kim Han Eul vanished without a trace after school, triggering a frantic search by her family and authorities. But when she was finally found, it was already too late. Her small, lifeless body was discovered in a darkened audio-visual room, her delicate features marred by stab wounds to the neck and face. The horror did not end there. Lying nearby, bleeding but alive, was a woman, her own teacher, Myeong Jae-wan, a woman in her 40s, who would soon confess to the unthinkable. It began as an ordinary afternoon. Kim Han Eul was supposed to board a bus to her Hagwon private tutoring academy, but when she never arrived, concern turned to alarm. The bus driver, puzzled by her absence, reported the situation to her after-school teacher. Then, at 5:15 p.m., her panicked parents filed a missing persons report, and the school grounds were scoured in a desperate attempt to find her. 45 agonizing minutes later, Han Eul's grandmother made a discovery that no loved one should ever have to endure. Inside a supply storage room, hidden in the shadows of the school's audiovisual room, she found her granddaughter's motionless body. Blood stained her school uniform. Her tiny hands were still clenched in what seemed like a final, desperate struggle. Beside her lay Myeong Jae-wan, bleeding from self-inflicted stab wounds on her neck and arm. She had failed in her attempt to take her own life, but she had already succeeded in taking the life of an innocent child. What could drive a teacher to commit such a monstrous act? That question tormented investigators as they dug deeper into Myeong's past. What they uncovered was chilling. Myeong had a history of violent behavior and mental health struggles. She had been on leave due to depression and had recently been deemed fit to return to work. However, her growing resentment over being excluded from teaching seemed to fester into something dark and dangerous. On the day of the murder, Myeong purchased a knife during her lunch break, an ordinary shopping trip that masked her deadly intent. Then, as classes ended, she singled out an easy target, the last child left in the school. "Come with me," she had reportedly told Han Eul, lying that she had a book to give her. Trusting and unaware, the little girl followed her into the audio-visual room, where she met her brutal end. Myeong would later confess that she had planned a murder-suicide, picking a random child to die alongside her. Chillingly, investigators found that she had researched murder methods and weaponry on her phone and computers prior to the attack. The brutal killing of 8-year-old Kim Han Eul inside her school in Daejeon sent shockwaves across South Korea and beyond. A place meant for learning had turned into a crime scene, leaving a nation in mourning and demanding answers. Outside the school gates, grief-stricken residents left chrysanthemums, dolls, and sweets, silent tributes to the little girl whose life was stolen in a place meant to be safe. Parents, shaken by the randomness of the attack, struggled to reassure their own children. "I can't imagine the pain her parents must be feeling," said a father of 2 whose children attended the same school. Another parent confessed her son was too afraid to return, fearing another tragedy. The murder ignited a national debate on school safety, mental health monitoring for educators, and the failures in student protection policies. Parents across the country questioned how an unstable teacher was allowed back in the classroom, and how an innocent child paid the price. Kim Han Eul's father, devastated and guilt-ridden, publicly mourned the loss of his daughter, blaming failures in school oversight for her tragic fate. "If we hadn't enrolled her in that after-school program, maybe she'd still be here," he said, his voice heavy with sorrow. He called for the harshest punishment for the killer and urged authorities to enforce stricter laws to protect children. Among the tributes left for Kim, one stood out, a flower wreath sent by K-pop group IVE, her favorite. The little girl had once dreamed of becoming a singer, inspired by her idol, Jang Won-young. As news of her death spread, fans flooded Jang's social media, torn between urging her to attend the funeral and respecting her silent mourning.